So what you'll notice is when you're up here at these frets, like around the 12th fret, the frets are a lot closer to each other than they are down here. So if you make a power chord here at the 12th fret, you go down toward the headstock, the pitch is going down, so that's down. That's an E on the 12th fret, power chord. You go down a half step to that E flat or D sharp, the frets are a little further apart. You go down another one to the D, and they're even further apart, and further, and further. So if you come up here and you practice your power chords, and you gradually move down, you'll get this good stretch between your index and your ring finger. And that stretch is one of the main things to making this F chord. Now the key is when you do that, don't let your wrist fall down here and get all like this, like a big bend, right? You don't avoid a bend like this or a bend like this. You don't avoid being too bent or too jammed up. And so you'll notice my wrist is relatively straight as I come. I mean, I can bend some, right? But I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not dropping my shoulder or anything like that. The reason why I say that, if you drop your wrist, you don't get the stretch between your index and your ring finger. And the stretch between your index and your ring finger is the most important part. So don't let that wrist bend too much. You can let it bend a little bit. It doesn't have to be like, you know, it's made of iron, but it should be kind of pliable. And if you're getting to where it's kind of hard, then start coming back up. And then go back down, and do that a few times, you know, a day. And over the course of a week or two, you'll get to where you can go all the way down here without letting the wrist, or making, you know, requiring that the wrist bend in an uncomfortable and, you know, non-ergonomic way. So the next thing you got to do to get comfortable with the full F is practice barring all 6 strings. Now, what I'm doing, I'm just using my index finger to lay across all 6 strings and make sure they ring. Now the key to the bar is when I'm fretting, it's kind of the edge of my finger here. It's more the bottom edge. I'm not pushing like just flat straight against the guitar. I'm pushing against the guitar and then letting the finger roll ever so slightly toward the headstock this way. And as you push down and let it roll a little bit, it really makes a tight grip without a lot of effort. And also the bone's closer to the surface, to the skin here. On the edge of your finger, on the bottom here, you got a lot of padding, and it's harder to, you got to squeeze harder because your skin kind of mushes around it. But if you get that on the edge of your, then you can totally, you can make that bar with a lot less pressure. So you come up here, 12th fret, bar, 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 bar. Just go down the neck. So if you get comfortable barring all of them and the power chords, well then eventually putting the other fingers like the pinky and the middle in are no big deal. Then you practice that, just going down 1 fret at a time. The whole, now this is the whole E shape. And if you do that, you'll get to where you can play that F chord without too much, you know, strain or struggle. It's important as a musician to recognize what you have to play and what you don't have to play. There are a number of options to playing an F chord, or at least playing bits of it, that don't require this whole thing, and that's very important to know. The first thing, the most simple thing, is just playing the F note on the 1st fret of the 6th string. Now if you're playing a song, and you're supposed to go to an F chord, and you just go to that F note, it'll sound a little funny. But you're still playing an F where the F belongs. It's not the full chord, but in a pinch, you can do it. The next thing you can do to play an F chord without a bunch of strain and struggle is the aforementioned F power chord. Index finger on the 6th string 1st fret, and then ring finger on the 5th string 3rd fret. That's an F power chord if you're playing a song. You can play that power chord. It's a little more rock than these other chords I'm playing. You got more of a rock sound, but it's still fine. It will work, and it's a lot easier than doing the whole chord shape. The next thing you can do to play an F chord without all 6 strings is you can play 4th string at the 3rd fret, 3rd string at the 2nd fret, 2nd string at the 1st fret. This here, it's an F triad. So that's just these 3 strings here. That's a solid F chord, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like if you're playing now G, C, you play that triad that I just showed you, it fits right in there without having to do all this. So the next thing you can do to play an F without doing all 6 strings, play the bottom 3 notes, or bottom 3 strings rather. That's the 3rd string at the 2nd fret, 2nd string at the 1st fret, and 1st string at the 1st fret. These notes. It's more of a lead kind of sound, so if you're playing a song with some low notes, this may sound a little thin, but if you're playing with another person and they're playing these lower notes, you can just kind of play kind of toward the bottom for the chords. When you get that F, it'll sound nice. Now, a couple other options you have. You can play all 4 of the bottom strings. A lot of people learn the F this way to start out with. And all it is the bottom of this shape, but it's 4th string 3rd fret, 3rd string 2nd fret, 2nd string 1st fret, 1st string 1st fret. You want to add back to that, you can bring the ring finger up to the 5th string, then pinky on the 4th string at the 3rd fret. That's the bottom 5 strings of this F chord. Technically what you would call an F over C. I'll do that a lot. Like you can go from the C to this F over C very easily. A lot easier than doing this bar. So there's one other option that it really achieves the same thing as the bar, but it's challenging in its own right. It's using your thumb over the top on the 6th string at the 1st fret. So I'm using here thumb, ring, pinky, index, middle, index, index. Thumb, ring, pinky, middle, index, index. That's a nice way, if I'm in a hurry, I'll just grab all 6 strings using my thumb on top for the 6th string. Now, I'll tell you a little secret. I don't play this full F bar chord unless I really absolutely have to. And especially on the acoustic guitar, it's a demanding chord. So, you know, if you're learning guitar, like take it easy on yourself. Don't stress and strain and struggle. Practice that E shape up and down the neck and move it down. But more importantly, play some of these abbreviated, chords. Just play the power chord or the triad or maybe even the bottom 4. And that'll get you there, and really that'll give you some more voicings to play. So even once you can play all 6 strings with the power chord, you'll still want these other options. It's not, like I said, you gotta have a good reason to get me to play this monstrosity of a chord. Like I said, over time it's no big deal, but it's always physical. And especially on the acoustic guitar, if you have heavier strings, you can work, That'll make you work. So if you're having a little trouble with the F chord, don't worry about it. It's common. Happens to everybody. And check out the tips I just gave you. It'll sort it out if you're as patient with yourself. And feel free to hit me up with any questions in the comments. And thank you for watching. See you soon.